How we doing, guys? We're back for another Salmon School class. We're on class number 4. Today's Thursday, February 8th. The topic of this class is proper planer boarding. This will probably be one of our shortest classes, as this is just designed to give you guys a little idea of what you need for planer boards, sizes, how to rig them, things like that. If you've heard me do seminars before, or if you've talked to me a lot before, I'll always tell you that there's many different ways to do things in salmon fishing and walleye fishing for that matter. There's lots of ways you can be successful. You can fish many different styles, strategies, types of lures, and be successful. There's not one way to do it. But with all that said, if there's one thing that I feel very firmly and strongly about one particular topic, it's about how to rig your planer board and how to properly use planer boards. And I'll explain to you that in a little bit here. We'll start with choosing the proper planer board for the tool, tool for the job, for what you're looking to do. This is a offshore OR12 planer board. A lot of guys would classify this as a walleye size planer board. This is the type of planer board you'd use for walleye fishing. Also is the type of planer board you would use for spring brown trout, spring coho salmon. You could use this planer board for steelhead fishing offshore. Basically, this board is good for me personally for anything about 5 colors of lead core or less. So 5 color, 3 color, 2 color, 1 color. Those inline sinkers that we showed in our first couple classes quite a bit. This would be the size planer board you would want to use for that. As soon as you get much heavier than that, you're going to get a lot of drag on this board. And what's going to happen is this board is going to pull behind the boat. And the minute you get a bite on your downrigger or your Dipsy rod, it could potentially run right into these lines. One thing I do like to do with my planer boards, if I'm going to use the OR12 for salmon fishing, is I like to take the ring off, and I left it on here so I could show you the difference. This is the way they come out of the package. I like to take this eye bolt out, and I like to put it in the back bottom hole, just like you see it here on this bigger board I'm going to explain to you in a minute. But that's where I like to move this eye bolt right here to that back bottom if I'm going to troll 3 color, 5 color lead core. And the main reason is it can handle a little more weight in this back spot versus the face of the board. This is going to want it to pull in towards the center of the boat more. This back part will allow it to pull to the side much harder. You will notice that on both of these boards we have them modified with a Sam's Pro release. We have a Sam's Pro release video on our website. I am going to give a quick demonstration on how to use this release, as this release is extremely popular and has become the go-to release for many salmon and trout anglers, and it's starting to become a real hot item for walleye guys. The main reason we use this Sam's Pro release is because this release allows you to release the front part of the board so that you are only fighting the back part of the board, which will still be on the line, which will take all of the drag and pressure basically away, so you can enjoy fighting the fish and not the planer board. The second style of board and size of board that we use is the offshore OR37. By no means am I making this an offshore advertisement. I want you guys to know that you can buy the other products out there. Church makes some quality boards. I think there's some other brands out there, Yellowbird, Gator. I personally like offshores. We sell offshores in the store here. I think that they're the best board available, but that's my opinion. If you have Churches already, you have other stuff, I mean, they definitely work. I'm by no means saying that anybody else's product is not good. This is the stuff we use. The big thing here is this OR37. You can see the size difference, okay? If you're going to pull 8 colors of lead core, 10 colors of lead core, or you're going to get into copper fishing or weighted steel for that matter, real heavy stuff, you're going to need these heavier boards, these bigger boards that can handle more weight. And they come out of the package on the bottom here. They have holes in the face if you want to pull them in the face, or they also have multiple holes off the back of the board. We like the lowest hole in the back of the board here. This one also has the Sam's Pro release on it. They do not come stock with the Sam's Pro release as of right now. They come stock with a different release on it. We sell these Sam's Pro releases on our website, and this is how we modify the board with a split ring and the Sam's Pro release. I'm going to show you guys how I rig up the Sam's Pro release real quick, so you got an idea on how to do that if you haven't seen this before. Got some braided line here. Okay, we're going to say that this is the backing of a copper setup. I'm going to go ahead and just string this out right here. I've now put all my copper, my lure, and everything out in the water, and this is just the backing here attached to my pretend rod right here, which is the spool of braid. Okay, the main key with this whole setup here is that I wrap this up using the line from the release to the rod. So this slack line right here. I do not want to use the line from me to the camera, out to the lure. That is a critical part, the only real critical part of this. And all you're going to do is wrap it around this nipple part here 3 or 4 times like that, calling this ring around the release here that the arm sticks out of. And then you're just going to go ahead and close that. And at that point you can go ahead and put your line in the back release and create some slack in the line. Okay, and now you're set up. This is going to pull to the side like this real nice, right? You've got some slack in here which will allow the board to pull fully to the side. And when you go ahead and get a strike now, what's going to happen is that front release is going to release like that, and all you're going to be left with is this back release. Now, one thing you can do if you want to avoid losing your planer board, you can do one backup thing, which would be to go ahead and double wrap that back release by just taking it one more time, wrapping it and sticking it in there like that. Now you've double wrapped it. There is no 100% guaranteed way to not have them fall off. It does happen time to time, so keep that in mind. And when I say time to time, I mean, you know, maybe twice a year I have one fall off. I simply just turn around and go get that board. It's not a big deal. I do lose one every couple of years. It's not like we lose a pile of boards or anything like that. I'm going to explain one more real quick important thing to this setup, and then I'm going to show that one more time, that deal on how to wrap the Sam's Pro. When you're setting the Sam's Pro up on these boards, whether it's an offshore, a church board, a Yellowbird, whatever, the important thing is you want the arm to release. It needs to release to the front of the board, which is pretty common sense, but you know, keep that in mind when you're first initially setting them up. Main reason is because you have the pull coming from this way already, from the rod tip. So if you're going to go and jerk it a little bit to trip it, to reel it in to check your line, you want it going that direction. So when the arm opens up, it should be pointed at the front of the board, just like that. When it's closed, it should be pointed at the back of the board, just like that. So I'll show it one more time so you guys are 100% confident. I'll put my rod back out there again. As I said before, we're going to wrap this line from me to the rod tip, which this is the rod tip right here, which is our spool of line. Me to the rod tip 4 or 5 times. Okay, we're going to go ahead and close that up. And then I'm going to go ahead and put that braid in the back release, creating some slack. So I've got some slack in between my releases now, you can see, like that. And when we get a strike, it'll pop that release wide open real easy like that and just hang in the water like this and be almost no drag. One last thing about this Sam's Pro release is that it has a screw in the side of it, and that's how you adjust the tension, how much tension it takes to open and close the release. You can adjust that screw by turning it in. Makes it harder to open up for copper, heavy coppers, pump handle setup, something like that. Or if you're going to do a 3-color, a 5-color, or just a mono with one of them little keel sinkers, you can unscrew that a ways and it's just real easy to open and close. Again, make sure you choose the proper tool for the job. In this particular case, we're talking specifically about planer boards. If you're going to fish for walleyes or you're going to fish for salmon and trout with light setups, for spring browns, spring cohos, 1 through 5 colors of lead, you'll want that OR12 offshore planer board, the walleye size board. If you're going to start getting into the heavier lead cores and the coppers and weighted steel, you're going to want the OR37, the SST board, the heavier board that I helped design with offshore a few years ago, that is specifically made very thick with lots of foam to be able to stay up above the water when we trip this board and be very light to reel in. Visit our website for any of these products. or all of our products. We've been updating almost every day now. We've got a new web guy, and he's doing a fantastic job getting stuff up there. All of our custom cranks, spoons, getting inventory up, new colors. We're going to be on our game this year, a lot better than we have been in the past, and we're excited about it. Our website, if you don't know, is www.anglersavenueproshop.com. You can always feel free to call me at the store if you need something, 920-395-2406. Again, my name's Russell. Feel free to ask any questions on our Facebook page or on our YouTube page, and we'll catch you next Tuesday for class number 5.